you can wipe everything else out.
And what about those live shows when things don't exactly go to plan?
Oh, I've done a few of those. I mean, someone may remember, although funnily enough, they covered it really well. The last time I did a Royal Command show, it came from Cardiff. And they gave me a sound pack. And I had a routine worked out with some dancers, and it was a whole medley of my songs with routines in it, all the songs. Well, I had to come on and do this hip thrust. The battery pack flew off my belt. You know, the headset is clipped into it, stuck into it. The weight of it carried itself, and the plug came out. So now I can't hear anything. I'm still trying to sing without able to really hear myself. Pick up the pack, try to put it back on my belt, and then continue. Well, I did not like that performance. But in the end, they said to me, listen, don't worry. We had so many camera angles that when that thing shot off, we just went quickly to somewhere else. When you came back and you were trying to put it on your belt, we just did a close-up of you so that people went away. When I saw it, it was true. But it still nevertheless was the most uncomfortable performance I've done for many, many years, because when something like that happens, you're desperate to stop. And then you think, but wait a minute, there's 2,000 people in a theater watching it. I don't want to stop in front of them. So I pounded through. But it turned out to be all right. But no, those kind of occasions, fortunately, are rare.
And I'm sure with a live show, nothing can go wrong, because if it did, it would just be part of the show and you'd make something funny out of it.
The stage show, it's you're kind of in charge. And if, as this happens with me, it's happened 2 or 3 times at the same song, the song Dreaming. It's got this fabulous intro, you know, da-dang, da-da-da-dang, down, down. And I'm going clap, clap, da-da-dang, down, 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 clap, everybody clap, down, down. And I'm thinking, what's the first line? Down, 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 down. And I said, stop, stop, stop. And then I said to the backing vocal group, what's the first line? And they look at each other and go, I don't know. And a girl said, 4 o'clock, I've been standing all night. So I got the lyrics from one of the audience. Then we said, okay, we start again. And then when it got to the point where I had to sing, I got this huge round of applause because I started singing it. So you can actually make fun of yourself and have fun with it with the crowd. But it's not something you want to have happen. But the audiences, I've noticed, no matter where you are on the planet, they actually like it when you become human. Because sometimes from their point of view, I always rehearse. I do not like making mistakes. I do not like things going wrong. I always say to the band, we got a review once in America when I played there. It said, watching Cliff Richard's show is like watching a video. And I thought, they were being detrimental with it though. I said, oh my, that's fantastic. The band said, do you want us to make mistakes? I said, please do not make mistakes. I don't think people pay to see mistakes. They want to see what they see on television, what they see on a video, as near to that as possible. They want to hear the record as close to the original as possible. And that's what I do. So if a mistake happens, you just have to roll with it. Yes, you can have fun with it, but in the end, you still have a little session afterwards saying, okay, what went wrong?
And 78 albums. What was number 15, by the way?
Oh, I have no idea.
And what was number 25? You just can't know, can you, at this point?
Well, also, I can't know because the 78 albums, I only heard this just recently, when it was announced on an introduction of myself, that 78 had been released. Some of those, of course, may have been a couple of albums in a year of compilations. I've had a string of silver discs, number 1, silver discs 2, gold discs by Cliff, gold discs by Cliff and the Shadows, another gold disc. So they come out all the time. I think the studio albums, original albums, it's much less than that. It's probably nearer the 40, 50 mark.
All right, I want to take another piece of music from this, and I want to come back and talk about Scylla, because I've got some real gossip. I don't know what to play next. I liked When You Say Nothing At All, which was the Ronan Keating one, wasn't it?
That was from the film, the Notting Hill film, wasn't it? At the very end, I always loved his version of it too.
Shall we play that one?
My version or his?
Your version.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm not going to play his version. You'll say here with me.
I like his version, but no, play mine.
Nice version of When You Say Nothing At All by Sir Cliff Richard off his brand new album called Love. It's Alex Belfield with you for an exclusive hour-long programme. Now, I've got to ask you, Cliff, about Scylla, because when I was over there at her place recording one of these programmes a couple of weeks ago, she told me that she nearly cost you several £1,000s because she waffled during one of your live shows. It was
at the Albert Hall, and I'd said to her, would you like to come on and sing a song, maybe do something yourself? She said, oh, yeah, I'd like to. Then she got really nervous. Anyway, she came backstage and she heard the roar of the crowd and she said she felt good. So I introduced her. I said, we've all of us got our devil woman and here's mine, this Scylla Black. And she came on and she was fantastic. The crowd loved her. Then I came on and we sang the duet together. And she's got her arms in the air and a split skirt and everyone's going, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I thought, I can't go on like this, because after 11, you're fined for every minute you go over a couple of £1,000. So I sidled over to her, and I was smiling, and I said, thank you, Scylla, get off. I've only done it to 2 people, and the other person, believe it or not, was Olivia Newton-John. Same thing. Olivia came on tour with me, said, I don't want to tour because I'm too nervous to work these days. And I can tell you this, I got her out of retirement. I talked her into it. She came on tour, and now she doesn't stop again. But she came on and she loved it. And she's got her hands up in the air and walking around the stage. And I had to go up to her and say, Olivia, please, get off.
I think you've got a great life now, because you're able to do this for a couple of months of the year, and you work so hard promoting your albums, and then you're able to clear off and be you and do what you love. What do you love doing the most?
Oh, dear, there's loads of things I like to do. I suppose that, to be honest with you, when I've got a couple of hours spare, there's nothing better than getting with a pro and hitting a tennis ball. I just love the sensation. I love, it's not just playing the game as such. It's also the fact that you feel your lungs pump, you feel your pores wet, and I feel good after a hit like that. And I say a hit because very often I don't play, quote-unquote, tennis. Because to play the game, the idea of playing a game is to hit the ball as few times as possible and win the point. So that if you're lucky, you might get to 4 shots, and the next thing someone's bouncing it, and you're breathing, and you're being served to, or you're serving. Whereas if you hit with a pro in practice, even if you hit the ball out, he'll get it back. If he hits it long, you still run back and get it back. Then you drop shot, then you run forward. You hit 100 times more the ball. So therefore, it's much more aerobic. And I like that. At my age, I think to myself, there's no way I'm going to win a tournament unless I'm playing with Federer. Then I might, and I do my best. But so for me, if I can just get some technique going, I started so late in life, I can never really get it to look right. But sometimes I do. And the more I play it, the closer I get to making it look right. And you can only be a natural player, really, if you start really, really young. And so I can never say I'll ever be that. But I do enjoy it very much. I love watching it. And I have my tennis foundation, which is now locked in with the Lawn Tennis Association in Britain. And so we're looking forward to continuing our work among schools. And hopefully, who knows, Alex, we've looked for tennis stars for years and found a few. We've had Greg Rosetsky, we've had Tim Henman, we've got Andy Murray now, who's really so improved and could be a chance for us winning Wimbledon. So from our little efforts, we might find more tennis players.
So we know what you like to do, that's tennis. Where do you like to do it? Where's the best place in the world to go?
Wimbledon. I mean, I happen to be a member at Wimbledon, so it's always great to play there. But my life is in the last few years, even though I'm trying to slow down, has been almost more tumultuous than it's ever been. So I haven't had a chance to get there very often. But when I do, it's a great place to play. It's a wonderful atmosphere. It's a club, remember. In fact, it's the only Grand Slam that actually is a private club. It's almost as though we let you all in to watch the tennis. So it's a great privilege to go there and play. But anywhere there's good weather is good. I love playing in Portugal at my own home because the only time I can get the coach is between 12 and 2 in the afternoon, and it's about 90 degrees in the shade. And again, I love it. I love going out there, sweating, and when I come off, I feel like I've had a real workout, heart's pumping. And within about 4 or 5 days of playing with a coach in those conditions, I get through the hour with only one stop, maybe for some water. So it's very fit-making.
Whenever I interview you, I always come away feeling inadequate. Because you're so blessed with talent, of course, but then you're so thin. Most guys of your age are having heart attacks and are about 48 stone.
Well, a lot of it's to do with discipline. You have to be disciplined. And of course, my career has been a disciplined thing. You have to commit yourself to a project and you have to stick with it. If you want to look good on stage, you have to give up something. You have to. And also, just in terms of health now, you don't have to be an artist to be motivated to be slim, because being slim, of course, is no guarantee that you won't die early, but at least you give yourself a chance of living longer, because if you're doing what doctors are recommending, which is doing a little exercise, some dieting, making sure you eat the good food as well. Dieting, you can actually eat bad food and eat less of it, but if you eat good food, you can actually eat a little more of it. But doing all of that keeps you fit, and that's mainly my motive for the fact that I look slim, is partly because my build would never allow me to be fat. But remember, I used to be 12 stone 7 and I'm now 11 stone. So I was, quite a bit heavy, 21 pounds heavier. Now I stick to 11 stone, and whatever I can do to keep it there is fine by me.
And the ladies always go on these message boards on your fan websites and say to me, please can you ask him, how does he look so good in the face? Creams, potions, lotions, surgery. How do you do it?
Everything. You've got to, I mean, I've been at the BBC before now where the makeup artist has come and said, oh, have you tried this new stuff? And I said, well, what is it? Write it down for me. And she'd write down some kind of, I don't know, moisturizer or something like that. And I'm thinking, I've started using all that stuff. Because nowadays you realize that, you know, as men, we are just as much damaged by the environment as women are. And if you want to look good, and remember, probably if I wasn't a singer and being photographed all the time, I probably wouldn't bother as much, to be honest with you. But that is a great motivation. I know that people are going to take pictures, and although I'll never look 18 again, and thank heavens, I just want to look as good as I can look at this age. And anything that'll help, I partake of it.
When you see the old black and white film of the guy in the 60s that was having all those screaming teenagers around him, is that you? How do you view that person all those years ago?
No, it's still me. I still recognize it. I still think, oh, I can remember that like it was yesterday. I see some odd photographs. I found some photographs the other day of my mom and two of my sisters with me in Greece when I was filming some holiday. And suddenly I thought, I can remember it. I remember that bus. I remember the whole thing we filmed in Greece, up in the mountainside. And then by putting snow on the top, they technically put snow on, and that was Switzerland. So I can remember things so vividly that it just feels like yesterday. No, that Cliff Richard still is me, but I've obviously realized that you can't live in that world forever. You've got to move with the world as it moves. And I've tried to do that over the years, and maybe that's helped me attain longevity.
We'll take another piece of music from the album Love.
Of the other songs, you know, Some People. To me, that's a classic pop ballad. When you think about it, you're right smack in the middle after about 2 verses. You get that instrumental sting goes in, and in the middle of it, and you suddenly go, oh, it's Alan Tarney and people like Terry Britton who wrote Devil Woman. They really know about pop rock, and they know how to do it. And I just wish they'd write more, and not just for me, but for some of the new guys.
We're back with our remaining moments with Sir Cliff Richard. Great song, great album. We've got a lot to talk about in our remaining moments. I saw something on the TV, and I think this was a joke. It was a calendar with pictures of you naked. You can't really be releasing this, can you?
Oh, yeah, I'm not naked, though. It's sort of stripped to the waist and shaving, I believe. And I think the Daily Mail got hold of it and did a good story. It was a fantastic story from my point of view, because they actually took a shot of me from the early 60s, where I was stripped to the waist also on a beach somewhere, and said, look, he hasn't changed that much. And I hadn't really. I was surprised. My physical shape was pretty well the same. So it was a nice article for me. But no, I mean, it's just fun. I'm just trying to think of different things to do. When you do a calendar year after year after year, you know, one close-up with a smile is about the same as any other close-up with a smile. So we try to think of different things for me to do, whether it's wearing big bomber jackets and slouched over a seat, or shaving in the morning, stripped to the waist. You know, it's just fun.
What will you be doing for Christmas this year?
Shaving, stripped to the waist. I'm going to go, actually, my family and I are not together this year, so I'm going to take the opportunity to spend Christmas in New York. For anybody listening, it's a good time to go to America because the pound is so strong against the dollar. But apart from that, New York is a wonderful city at Christmas time. Some of the trees on the streets are wrapped in white lights, not just the trunk, but the branches, not just the branches, but every flipping twig. And it's magnificent. You know, the whole area is wonderful. So I'm going to enjoy that.
And the Rockefeller tree has got 32,000 lights on it this year.
Is it really? Well, I always go to see that too. And right opposite there, of course, I don't know whether it's on Fifth Avenue, that big building there. Last year they had every I don't know, half an hour, they had a kind of light show. Music was pouring out from everywhere, and the lights were going all over the building. There was a whole, it was choreographed lights to the music. It was fantastic.
Sir Cliff, thank you very much for talking to me again. It's always a pleasure. Every year we do these interviews, and your fans just love it. They can't get enough of you. And seeing you just rehearse there for the show you're going to do later on the BBC is incredible. You just come alive. It's so you. And after all these years, it's remarkable that you even can be bothered to do it. Congratulations on that.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you to all your listeners too. Thank you for supporting me and following me all the years. And, well, I'll see you next year. I'm on tour, so I guess I'll see most people.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, and you too, and a Happy New Year.